Hello YouTube, my name's Dane Lemaitre and welcome to another review. This review will be on the Bachmann Toby. Bachmann Toby is again more or less a near perfect model. What I like about him is the fact that he's painted the right sort of brown. I mean that looks like wood, it's not wood, obviously it's plastic, but all the wood details there. The grid of his cowcatcher looks a lot more realistic. If I just focus the camera for you. So if you look at his cowcatcher, that's really good. I really like his face. His face reminds me pretty much of his the face he's worn from Series 1 right up till the end of the CG to the end of the model era, before the show became CGI. There is also a Hornby Toby, which I do have. The Hornby Toby was built in around 2002. I bought it from T&R Models, a shop where my brother used to work in Wellingborough. And I'll be completely honest, I was forced to buy this model because, as you know, the Hornby Toby is far too tall. A Hornby Toby is actually packed away at the minute, so I can't show you it, but there is some video footage of friends who was so exactly the same year. No real difference between them. And so he was just far too tall and far too wide. He couldn't get into any of the sheds. He couldn't get through any of the past any of the platforms without hitting them. Whereas this Toby is a lot more square, a lot not as wide, so he can fit perfectly through all the gaps. Also, another thing that I like is that his face is grey sort of colour, whereas the Hornby Toby had a bit more of a cream face, and so was the roof. The chimney on the Hornby Toby was just a black plastic block, whereas this is an actual chimney. See there? On the Hornby model, they also just painted his bell yellow, whereas this one's more of a brass sort of colour. And they've added brass to the handrails inside him, which, again, I think look a lot more realistic than the Hornby one. As I said, Toby comes with cowcatchers and side plates, exactly the same as Mavis, who we reviewed not long ago. Toby actually has the same chassis as Mavis. See there? Chassis. So, as I said, they both got the same chassis. The Hornby Toby has a lot bigger wheels, and the chassis looks exactly the same as the Thomas, Diesel and Duck one, along with Arry and Bert. It also has side rods. In the television series model, if you watch the Series 6 episode Toby Had a Little Lamb, it looks like he had side rods as he goes over the bridge, as you can see up his side plate. So it looks like he has side rods on his TV series model. I mean, I suppose I can't really argue about the size of the wheels too much because, like I said, we never see Toby's wheels that much because obviously they're covered up. But I think the problem with the big ones on the Hornby one is that it makes, say, Toby far too tall, and I'm sure the real Toby wouldn't have had wheels that size. Again, these two both have very small wheels, but not as small as the Bachmann Bakerloo from the Underground Ernie range. Again, you can watch that review. Another thing, I always add the links to the other reviews if you missed them inside the descriptions of my videos, including like the one before. So last time it would have been Hornby Murdoch, so his will be near the bottom of the list. This model of Toby was also built in 2006. You probably won't be able to see it as well, because unlike the Hornby range, it's not crisply printed in white. So that's another thing I do keep. Whenever I do my Bachmann reviews, I do forget to tell you when they're actually built, unlike the Hornby ones. Another thing I did forget to mention is that in the Spencer and Murdoch views, they didn't actually have printed under them when they were made, for some odd reason. And they're the only two Hornby models not to say when they were built. Like I said, this one was actually 2006. And I actually got this Toby this year as a present. I was 21 this year, and my parents bought him for me as a present because they always ask me what sort of things I want, and I said, "Oh, I'd like to get a Bachmann Toby." And the Bachmann Toby came from Toothley Thomas, again, who I've bought all my other Thomas ones from. I do also have Toby's coach Henrietta, who I brought before him. I went to, this year, back in July, I went to the Northampton Model Railway Show. And I always, whenever I go to a model railway show, I always try and look in advance, save up some money. And when I was there, I brought the Mavis model, who you saw earlier, and I also brought Henrietta at the time. Toby wasn't in stock. They say he's one of their most popular ones, which I can understand. But I do also have a Henrietta. The Henrietta model is really good. It looks just like a TV series model. There is, of course, one problem now. Henrietta has a face. I suppose it's just my luck. Like I said, as you know, I brought the Bill and Ben Bachmann models, and when I brought the Bill and Ben Bachmann models, obviously the wheels were black. The next month, because I bought them in September last year, the next month in October they come back to the TV series with red wheels. Like I said, now Henrietta has a face, of course. She is a very good model. Again, with Bachmann, all the details there. Hornby don't actually make Henrietta, and I think that's a bit of a shame, really. They do Toby, yet they don't do Henrietta, and it was the same with Emily. Again, in Bachmann, Emily's maid, and so are her coaches. The one thing I probably would change about the Henrietta model is the fact that I think the orange is a bit too bright. I mean, I've got this Ertl model, and you can sort of see it's a bit more of a darker shade of brown sort of thing, really, and I think that would have been a lot better. This Henrietta model is actually very, very old. You might not be able to see it too well, but it was made in 1992. And I was born in 1993, so yeah, so it's quite an old model. This Toby model I've never had any issues with. He runs extremely well. So he runs extremely well. So he fits, unlike the Hornby one, he fits through all the gaps. You can fit him in the shed. He's not too tall. And it's not just because of the size I like Toby. It's because it's realistic to the TV series and the railway series illustrations, like the models and that. It's really realistic again. And I'd rather have an engine that's much more realistic. We move on to the packaging now. Once again, I can't, with the Bachmann packaging, I can't say I'm over 100% impressed. I said you have to practically, unfortunately, destroy the box. And compared to the Bachmann Bakerloo from the Underground Ernie range, it's not that well packaged. And I mean, these aren't toys; they are models. So a bit of a disappointment. Again, the same with Henrietta. Like I said, when I give my overall score, though, I don't judge it all on the packaging. Another thing as well, I mentioned T&R Models in Wellingborough. My brother used to work there. The owners are both retired now, so T&R Models isn't open anymore. And I walked past there the other day because the swimming pool in Wellingborough is opposite it, and it's now African Caribbean food shop. Overall, I'd give both Toby and Henrietta a 10 out of 10. I do think they are very realistic. I don't think there's much to say. Again, they're so good models. I don't feel that I have much to say about them, really. Toby's always been one of my favourite engines in the TV show, and I think it's fair to say he's had some of the best adventures, really. Some people say that he looks funny in that, but I say it doesn't bother me at all. And talking of funny, the next time we have a review, we'll be taking a trip to the Circus as we look at the Percy Circus electric train set, mainly reviewing Percy, but I'll also be taking a look at some of the wagons that come with it. And I also have some other circus wagons, which I will be mentioning. In general, I do my reviews, unless you get coaches like Henrietta that are teamed up with an engine. I don't do many reviews on the trucks and that, because most of the trucks, there's not much to say about them. And in general, I'm not really disappointed with them. I like all of them, really. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Ah.